Hello and welcome back to my FPL channel. I am FPL Unit and today you are here for the top transfer tips ahead of Game Week 25, double Game Week 25 deadline. This is being recorded on a Tuesday afternoon Australian time, Tuesday morning in the UK. Bear with me. Obviously, we still haven't had the completion of double Game Week 24, but I think that we can see where people are going. They are loading up. Do you load up on double Game Week 25 players like Aston Villa players, or do you ignore those kind of teams and focus on teams coming into a good fixture run that aren't going to be blanking in Game Week 29? And look, yes, I am talking about the Bournemouth boys, and there are plenty of them to cover, and I cover them in great detail in this video. Without further ado though, please smash a like on the video, and please continue to help me grow the channel by subscribing if you haven't already done so. About 50% of people that watch my videos haven't subscribed, so please log in, create an account, please help me grow. I can't do it without you. So without further ado, let's jump into it. And we're going to start with the Aston Villa assets for double Game Week 25. Now, I've covered this a little bit in my other videos for Game Week 25, but I just want to go back and actually look at these details from what we can see. All right. So I've gone and done the digging, found out the XG for expected goals, expected assists, and I've put down the bottom Aston Villa's extended fixture run. So look, they've got Ipswich and Liverpool. Ipswich is the only green team they play in the next 7 game weeks. Like it's not a good run for Aston Villa. There's a lot of grey in there, and they've obviously got the Champions League as well to contend with. I don't think they're long-term assets. I think that if you are going to invest in Aston Villa, you're probably investing for this week and this week alone. And yeah, it's hard to recommend them, which is why I'm personally not going to be buying any of their assets. The only asset I was actually interested in was Marcus Rashford. He started on the bench in the FA Cup. I can't see him really coming in from the start. Watkins still is yellow flagged. There's no guarantee he's going to start. He didn't play in the FA Cup, so that also makes it concerning. Look, I am looking to go for Unai Emery, who's not on this list because we're just talking about players here. But let's have a look. Marlon, he played up front when Watkins wasn't there. 0.3 expected goals per 90, 0.01 expected assists. Nothing to write home about. Luca Dean's probably the pick of all of them outside of Morgan Rogers for players that potentially you might want. So in the defence, 0.19 expected goal involvement combined is pretty good at a 4.6 million asking price, but his minutes are a bit of a risk, and that's concerning in and of itself. Marcus Rashford, I said, if he was starting, he'd be the one I'd be more tempted to go with than anything else. I just think that he didn't start in the FA Cup, so for me, I can't see him starting twice in a week, so that's also part of the problem. Morgan Rogers is definitely the pick. 0.17 expected goals, 0.14 expected assists per 90. That's very nice numbers. 5.6 million. He's dirt cheap as well. So if you've got a player like Ahmad, it's a very easy transfer, and I don't mind that transfer at all. Lots of people have been asking me about ditching Ahmad. I've ditched Ahmad myself, and we'll talk about who I've ditched him for a little bit later. And then Watkins. If he was fit, he'd be a great option. Would I sell Isaac for Watkins? Hell no. That is the dumbest move I've ever heard of. Isaac is probably likely to score more goals probably against Man City than Watkins is going to score combined against Ipswich and Liverpool, to be honest with you. So look, those are the Aston Villa boys. In terms of the Bournemouth boys, well, these guys are a little bit more... All you have to do is look at the bottom of the screen. Like green, green, grey, grey, green, green, green. This is the ultimate fixture run to get excited about. And look, I've got them listed in the order of I would buy them in this particular segment. This is what I did earlier in the week. So Kluivert, I've bought in Kluivert myself, and that was an easy transfer from Ahmad. I had the money for it because I'd obviously traded Phil Foden the week before, so I could afford that. Semenyo, though, I think is the better minutes risk. So, sorry, guaranteed minutes, not minutes risk. Kluivert is more of a minutes risk than Semenyo. Semenyo is definitely, if you want someone that you know is going to play 90 minutes every single week, it's Semenyo. And look, the numbers there, they don't lie. 0.51 expected goals for Kluivert per 90, 0.11 expected assists. But Semenyo's not that far behind considering he's not on penalties. 0.31 expected goals, 0.14 expected assists. In terms of Dango, it fluctuates here. He's actually got the 0.6. He's just behind Kluivert in terms of expected goal involvement combined. 0.43, 0.17, but I would say his minutes are at the most at risk. Him and Kluivert both started on the bench in the FA Cup. Now, Kluivert's just had a kid, so maybe that explains why he started on the bench. But Dango, there was no reason why he started on the bench, but he did. Jefferson actually started up front instead, so I'm not sure. I think he's definitely the third one in this. It's a toss-up between Semenyo and Kluivert, really. And then in the defence, we've got to talk about Kirkes, 0.02 expected goals, 0.08 expected assists, and then Hodgson, 0.6 million cheaper, but he's got 0.1 goal threat, for expected goals, and 0.06 expected assists per 90. They're all such really good options that there's so much to love there. I think you've got to have at least 2 Bournemouth players heading into game week 25. I'll be more worried about not having Bournemouth players than not having Aston Villa players. That's the way I read it. I've actually got no Aston Villa players in my team. I've now got 2 Bournemouth players, and we'll have a look at that a little bit later on. So onto the top transferred in and out players of the game week. So the transferred in players are on the left. On the right are the transferred out players. Now, lots of the players on the right are yellow flag players, which is not a surprise, or red flag. So Paul Martinez from Man United did his ACL. He has to go. Gordon's been yellow flagged after the FA Cup, or after something. Trent, obviously, we don't know. We are still expecting him to play against Everton tomorrow night, but it's still no guarantee. Watkins, we don't know, and this is why you can't be recommending getting him in. Luis Diaz, 100%. I can understand that. Ironically, all the Newcastle players are at the top, like the 3 most popular owned players, Gordon, Hall, and Isaac, all at the top in terms of transferred out players. Along with Ahmad, I was one of the people that just moved Ahmad on. There's just so many better options outside of Ahmad, and the way Man United are playing, they're not scoring many goals. And I think I just want the penalty taker. I had Bruno Fernandes and Ahmad in my team, but for me, it's just got to be Bruno Fernandes moving forward. I want the penalty taker more than the cheaper option at this particular moment. Obviously, there's a few disappointing players in there as well, like Jackson and João Pedro. Surprisingly, Mbeumo and Wissa are on both sides of the list. So lots of people still buying Mbeumo. Lots of people actually selling him as well, along with Wissa. Obviously disappointed after the Tottenham game, which was a bit of a disappointment, but I'll be holding faith. I expect them to do well over the next couple of weeks with West Ham and Leicester. If they don't perform over the next 2 weeks, 100%, they're both definite sells. I couldn't agree more with that. In terms of Maddison, who knows? He just doesn't... Iwobi's a very popular transfer out target this week as well. I don't mind that. Rodgers, I don't know why people are selling him. He's the 4th most bought player, but he's also on this list, like in the top 20 for sold. Foden and Guardiola, Man City's run is horrible, so they're just recommended sells in general. I sold Foden last week after I analysed, and the fact that they're going to be worried about playing Real Madrid, so there's a good chance that some of these players that they're worried about will get rotated out of the Premier League team. And Marmoush is probably going to start in front of Haaland until they've got the Champions League over and done with. Because of the fact, realistically, they're probably not winning the league, and they're probably still going to finish the top 4, so there's no real need there. In terms of the buys, as you can see there, it's dominated by Bournemouth players and a couple of Palace players and Forest players, believe it or not. Forest had that massive win. As people just chasing points, I don't think any Forest player outside of Gibbs White is actually a buy this week. If you want my honest opinion, I think I've actually got Wood on the sell list as well, just an FYI. But look, yeah, it's just... I don't know. There's just a lot of weird moves happening, a lot of points chasing. I wouldn't recommend chasing points in the slightest. So, without further ado, let's jump into the most the transfer targets I actually think you should be looking at in terms of the defense. So, the best buys and sells. Defender buys. These are ranked in the order from left to right that I think you should be buying your defenders in. So, for me, Kirkes is definitely the top buy at 5 million. He is in my team as well. His expected goal involvement combined is actually the third lowest on this graphic, but I just like the way he plays. Bournemouth's run, as we talked about before, is amazing coming up, and he's just a premium option. I've just realised I've got an error here. Hodgson is actually 4.4 million. He's not 5 million. So just bear with me. I've actually done a little bit of a typo there. I must have got a little bit too excited and thought I'd finish this one, but I hadn't. He should actually be 4.4 million. But his XG numbers are correct. Everything else is correct about that. But he is actually 4.4 million. So please don't crucify me for that one. Munoz is 4.8. Again, if Palace weren't blanking in 29, I would 100% be buying Munoz this week. I may even still buy him for Trent or Hall, depending over the next couple of weeks. Like, Palace's run is just so good. And either side of blank game week 29, they've got Ipswich and Southampton. Like, they're such good fixtures. I really like him. And his goal threat, 0.16 expected goal, 0.1 expected assist. It's just so good. There's a lot to love there. Dean, I have got him in there because of the fact that he has got the double game week, and I'm expecting him to start against Ipswich and potentially play 60 minutes, and hopefully he gets subbed before they concede, which inevitably they probably will. But Diassi also makes it in here. Now, Diassi is not in a Chelsea shirt. They still haven't updated it in the FPL app, so which is why he's still showing in a Chelsea shirt. He does play for Aston Villa now. He is the only fit centre-back, which means he's a guaranteed to start. 4.2 million. He does have a little bit of threat around the goals. Shout out to Rahi, who mentioned him to me today. He has snuck in once I've done a little bit of research on it. He makes the cut. And then Timber, I think Arsenal's run of fixtures coming up is actually really nice in terms of defensive underlying data. No, I'm not going for Gabriel. I can't justify spending an extra 0.8 million for Gabriel. He averages 5 goals a season. He's already got 3 for the season. He realistically is going to get 2 more between now and the end of the season. Timber just offers the same amount for significantly less. I can't justify spending anything more than like 5.6. I've got Trent in my team and he'll be 100% going if he is injured. He's not on the defender cells because if he's not injured and he is going to be fit and he plays in the Everton game, he's not a sell. You hold him and you roll with him. These players should have been out of people's teams a long time ago. Pedro Porro, still owned by 20% of the competition. Tottenham cannot defend. Even against Man United, they will find a way to concede goals. I can guarantee they'll find a way to concede goals. Yes, he has good goal threat, just a sell. Man City, ditto, Guardiola, their run of fixtures coming up is just horrible. You don't want to be going there. They're going to be worried about the Champions League. As I said, yes, he's also got really good goal threat, but they're not going to be keeping clean sheets over the next few weeks. So for me, he's a sell. Martinez, unfortunately, has done his ACL. He's going to be out for a significant amount of time. And Mazraoui also joins this list. These players just offer nothing going forward. They need to be sold because Manchester United cannot keep clean sheets. They somehow suck even against the bottom bit of the table. And I'm one of their fans, so that's all you need to know about that. Hall, I understand why people are selling him. If you don't want to be free hitting and you've got too many players that are going to be blanking in game week 29, he is a sell. However, I would recommend you hold him, but I can understand why people are selling him. And yes, if you need to free up a slot, definitely. And Ashley Young, look, he's been a great servant for the people that had it, but since David Moyes has come in, Ashley Young has found himself out of the team, and that means he has to be sold. Even though Everton are still keeping pretty good defensive data across the board. In terms of the midfield buys, now it's the Bournemouth boys. All right, so Semenyo definitely he's the top pick here, 5.7 mil, 0.31 expected goals, 0.14 expected assists. It's then Kluivert. Kluivert only comes in at second because of the fact that he is not a guaranteed starter as much as Semenyo is, and he will play, generally speaking, less minutes than Semenyo every game week. So for that reason, even though his data is better and he's been going absolutely ham the last month or so, for me, he comes in second. Dango is definitely the third best buy you can buy this week. Again, it's because of the fact that he's even more of a minutes risk than the other two. That is why I've basically ranked them based on the minutes that I think that they're likely to play. Morgan Rogers comes in at number 4. Yes, he's probably the best midfielder to buy that's guaranteed to start in the Aston Villa team if you want to go there for the double game week. And Brian Mbeumo, he's still a really good buy. Look, they've got West Ham, they've got Leicester. That's a nice run of fixtures up until blank game week 29 when they've got Bournemouth in 29, which is not a horrible fixture, but it's not brilliant. But then you probably want to move him on from that. But the next 4 or 5 weeks, it's absolutely brilliant up till then. So it's hard not to recommend him. And Gibbs White, the teams that they're going to be playing, yes, Nottingham Forest have a harder run of fixtures after Fulham. They've got Man City and other teams in there and Arsenal. But I just think that Gibbs White is going to enjoy playing against those teams. And that's why he makes the cut in number 6. In terms of midfielder sells, Gordon is 100% a sell. Most people don't have that much money tied up in him. He's the easiest Newcastle asset to sell. So for me, I don't own him, but I would definitely be looking to move him on for one of the players listed above. Ahmad Ditto, he's so easy to move to one of the Bournemouth boys or Rogers. It's a no-brainer. Just get rid of him. He'll probably dump a hat-trick. No, he won't. He definitely won't. Well, I mean, Tottenham are pretty bad, but I just can't see that happening myself. He does have good data, but it's just not good enough to warrant a place. Diaz is I know he's got the double game week, but this man just is continuously a minutes risk. He doesn't start every game. he has to be moved on. I've been saying this all season. I have not rated Diaz all season long. Yes, he started the season on fire. He's had a couple of good weeks here and there. He's a sell. I know his data is really good, 0.42, 0.13, but really, nah. Awobi, ditto, 5.8. It's an easy sell this week. Just get rid. Like, there's no, you don't even have to think about that one. I mean, his 2 goals the other week were pretty damn lucky. 0.13 expected goal involvement per 90. For goals, it's just not good enough. There's far better options. See above. In terms of Phil Foden, this is a very hard one for me. I did sell him myself last week, but the fixtures don't lie, and the fact that Man City are concerned with the Champions League means that they're highly likely, I reckon, to be playing pet roulette. And in that case, Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden are probably going to be rested for the Premier League games so they can focus on trying to progress in the Champions League, knowing that realistically a title challenge is over. Even though he's got 0.3 expected goals, 0.31 expected assists, he's a really good look from game week 29 onwards, particularly if Man City exit the Champions League. 100% go back there, but for now, no good. And Eze, this dude just can't stay fit. He's been brilliant for the people that have owned him until he got injured, but that sore foot seems to be a recurring problem, and he just seems to be struggling to stay on the pitch. So he reluctantly is also a recommended sell for this particular week. That takes us to the forwards. And look, the forwards, there aren't too many recommended sells. I'm going to start on the sells to begin with here. Jackson, I had him for way too long. The dude's now yellow flagged. He needs to go. Yes, his data is the best pretty much of every forward in this entire list. The dude just cannot deliver. And he's just been wasteful. He needs to score a goal or two before you jump back on, because he is a very streaky player. When he's in form, he can rack up the points really quickly. However, he's not in form at the moment. So for me, he's 100% sell. João Pedro, ditto, 5.5 mil. I mean, like, when you compare him to Beto, Beto's an absolute punt, or Ndiaye or whatever. These guys are just performing so much better. João Pedro also got benched, I think, on the weekend in the FA Cup. For me, you just got to move him on at this particular point. Chris Wood is the last player on this list. Now, they've got Fulham, followed by 3 really tough fixtures. I just think for the next 4 weeks, prior to the fixture against Ipswich in 29, Chris Wood's probably the worst forward out of this list. And like lots of people thinking, like the next 4 weeks, you could make a lot of points by actually moving him on. I can't believe he's actually the most bought player, second most bought player of the game week. Based off, yes, he did score a hat-trick, but that was the hat-trick. Like, he's got Fulham. I don't think he's going to be scoring a hat-trick against Fulham. He may very well score this week, but then they've got 3 really hard fixtures after that. Newcastle away, Arsenal at home, Man City. It's not a good run of fixtures. I just don't think Chris Wood's going to continue at that rate over the next 4 weeks. So for me, he is a reluctant sell. He is in my team. I intend on holding him because I'll just bench him. But if you wanted to sell it for one of the other forwards above, I'd highly recommend. In terms of the best forwards to buy, it is still Cody Gakpo. If you've somehow got a third Liverpool spot still open in your team, he's 100% a buy. I wouldn't take a -4 to bring him in, like if you've got double up Liverpool defence. And most people have already got their 3 Liverpool players, but he still is the best forward in the game to buy for the double game week. His underlying stats are good, and Slot loves him. Wissa is definitely the second best one still. As I said, I'm still holding the faith for the Brentford boys. I went 2 weeks ago on Wissa, and he's definitely disappointed me. He was just unlucky against Tottenham, but like I can't afford unluckiness. I changed Jackson to Wissa. Jackson's actually outscored him in the time that I traded him to, which is insane. I do expect though to have some sort of luck against West Ham and I can't even remember who the other team is. Leicester, sorry, the next 2 weeks. So if he doesn't get a goal in the next 2 weeks, he's off. He's gone for Cunha, who's later on this list. Mateta, he's going in at number 3. The only reason why he's in at number 3 instead of probably number 1 is because of the fact that he does have the blank game week in 29. They do have a beautiful run of fixtures, as I said, leading up to that and post that. But it's hard to recommend someone that's going to be blanking and they don't have a double in between now and then. Kai Havertz, lots of people need to be looking at him. Martinelli's got himself injured. He's almost 100% a guaranteed 90 minutes man at the moment for Arsenal. And if Arsenal are going to push for the league title, Havertz just needs to be scoring goals and getting returns. Because if he doesn't, Arsenal aren't going to win the league. They need him to be firing. He looks like a really good option. He's not going to be encroached on his minutes by anyone else. Cunha has looked really good. I watched him in the FA Cup on the weekend. He obviously did well against Villa in the league the week before as well. It's a difficult game against Liverpool in 25, but after 25, it opens up beautifully for Cunha, and I would 100% be recommending next week he might even go to the top of this list, depending on other results and other things that I research over the weekend. And in terms of Beto, he comes in, he's just dirt cheap, 4.9. It looks like with Calvert-Lewin out, the Beto's going to be starting up front, so that looks really good. If you just want to have a set and forget 9 or 8 for Taka, and you're just going to bench him most weeks, Beto's your man. You can free up money to spend on the rest of your squad. I actually don't mind that play at all. Now, lastly, we are going to look at my own transfer plans for this particular game week. So my first move I'm going to be doing, and I've actually already locked this one in, is Ahmad to Kluivert. There's nothing more to say here. The data is so much better for Kluivert. He's on penalties. Yes, he cost 0.2 million more when I initially bought him. I bought him at 5.8. Kluivert now has risen to 5.9. Ahmad just, the way Man United have been playing, they're just so boring to watch. They barely create any chances. And the form they're in, particularly in the league, it's like, I think they're going to become a cup team. They're going to end up sacrificing the league and finishing like 16th or 17th, I reckon. And I just think that outside of penalties, if you're not on penalties and you're playing for Man United, which is why Bruno's in my team instead of Ahmad, you're gone. And you have to have a Bournemouth midfielder. So I've gone with Kluivert. I could have gone with Semenyo. I was tempted by that, but I really did get swayed by the penalties. I've now got 5 penalty takers in my team, which you'll be able to see in my team selection tomorrow. But that was the easiest transfer I'd had. I already had money in the bank for it. It didn't cost me anything, and I still had money for my other move, which involves the manager, because I am on the assistant manager chip. And that move is going to be, and I haven't locked this one in yet because I do want to see how Liverpool go against Everton tomorrow night, but it is most likely going to be David Moyes to Unai Emery. Now, there are other managers with really good chances of table bonus this week, like Herzler from Brighton against Chelsea, Silva with table bonus against Nottingham Forest. They're really good options. Or I could just go to slot and then take an extra -4 to transfer out Trent if he's injured. But I just think that there's more upside. I want to chase the table bonus. That was my initial plan. I've chased it with Moyes, but I have to move him on because Moyes has got no table bonus against Crystal Palace, and that means that I will most likely, I can almost guarantee 90% sure that it will be Unai Emery that I move to for that table bonus, and hopefully the banker fixture, a bit like what Moyes had with the Leicester at home fixture. I'm hoping that Emery and Ipswich at home will also be the same. The only thing that concerns me is the fact that Aston Villa have so many defensive injuries, and that could be a problem moving forward. But yeah, other than that, it looks like a no-brainer kind of a move. And that brings us to the end. I mean, transfer tips for this week. What plans are you thinking of doing? Write them in the comments below. Let me know what you are planning on doing. I am pretty damn happy with the way my squad is looking. We will look at that in the team selection. Actually, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be on Thursday because of the fact I have to wait for the Everton and Liverpool game to finish, which means that it will be out sometime around this time on Thursday. But yeah, keep your eye out for that. Please, before you go, smash a like on the video, and please also think about subscribing. If you're one of those 50% that do watch this and you haven't already done it, please think about doing that. And I'll join you on Thursday for team selection and my final thoughts. Thank you for watching.